Hello guys, MonkeyBot here, and today we're going to be talking about the Cathay Dragon dilemma. There was quite a few conversations on my last video debating about the Cathay problem, whether they should all be dragons, whether we should have additional lords that aren't dragons, how are the dragons going to be different, they should all be dragons, they should not all be dragons, so on and so forth. So I thought I'd just make this a completely separate video and talk about all the possibilities that the CA could do to solve this problem. The problem that I have is that all three of these dragons that we currently have all feel the same. They are all powerful magic users in human form, and when they turn into dragon form, they are just melee monsters, and that's all they are, and all three of them feel the same. I do just want to point out that I don't have early access to the new Shadows of Change DLC, so I haven't been able to play the Jade Dragon yet, but what I've seen from the gameplay, it's the exact same as the previous two, except he's got an execution mechanic at the end, and to me that's just not enough. So now it comes to the debate. Should Cathay have only dragon legendary lords? Personally, I don't think it's necessary. I think we could have so many more interesting legendary lords if they weren't dragons. I will say about the Monkey King, I'm pretty sure the Monkey King is going to come, and I think that everyone can agree with me. But what I've been told about the Monkey King is that he's like a renegade fighter. He's not actually part of Cathay. He's like a rebel agent within Cathay itself, and he doesn't really count, even though he will still come under the Cathay faction banner. Cathay is a relatively new faction. Although Cathay has been around since the dawn of Warhammer, they are now rewriting Cathay, and it's so open now that anything can happen. So although there's old lore that are still relevant to today, I do believe that there can be exceptions made to create Cathay in a more unique manner. I do believe that all of the legendary lords should be dragon-blooded. Like our normal generals, they are dragon-blooded generals, but they are still in human form. So you could easily have like a foot-based melee fighter that's just all about fighting and being on the ground and just attacking whatever's around him. Basically a legendary lord version of the new lord we got for Cathay and the new Shadows of Change DLC. And there are so many other possibilities for legendary lords. Like, it's based in China, so you could have like a Cathay monk that's all about martial arts. He could be very squishy, he could be very mobile, but he could hit like a truck. You could also have battle prayers very similar to the warrior priest of the Empire, and he could be your support legendary lord that just buffs his army. Moving on, we could have our engineer-style lord. We know that Cathay is very big on artillery and gunpowder and weaponry, and we could also use a legendary lord for that as well. Like, there's so many possibilities if you take away the dragon element. That's already 4 possibilities for legendary lords. You've got your pure melee character, you've got the Monkey King, you've got your monk, and then you've got your engineer. There's already 4 possible legendary lords that you could have. Okay, so let's say that they have to be dragons, that all the Cathay legendary lords, excluding the Monkey King, have to be dragons. Creative Assembly and Games Workshop need to find a way to make these dragons unique. They can't just be magic foot lords and melee monsters. There has to be something different in them. Something more than just an execution ability like Yuan Bo has. And I do think it's possible. I do think there are ways to make these dragons unique. You could have like the fire dragon not be a melee focused character, but just being like an artillery piece. He's a fire dragon. He can just throw balls of fire across the battlefield at like 300 range and just rain bombardment. But in melee, he's really squishy. You could have a dragon that really plays into the yin and yang mechanics. So you could have a dragon in human form that, when in human form, gives massive buffs to the army. But when they turn into dragon form, they are this absolute powerhouse of a fighter, but actually debuffs your army. So you could have complete balance of what you want to do. Buff your army or buff your lord. You could make these so unique. And I know that CA can do this. Like, look at the Dwarfs. You would think, oh, it's just a dwarf. All the dwarfs are the same. But we have 5 completely unique dwarves, all with different playstyles, all with different purposes, and a potential 6th on the way. Like, we have Thorgrim, the one that buffs his armies. We've got Umgrim, the unbreakable monster hunter. We've got Belagar, the unstoppable tank. We've got Thoric, the runesmith, and then finally Grombrindle, the armor-piercing DPS god. Like, they're all unique, and then we're probably going to get an engineer lord after that. Every single dwarf legendary lord is unique. So why can't the Cathay dragons be unique? I suspect that at the end of Warhammer 3's life cycle, I think all the base game races are going to have roughly 8 legendary lords, which is a lot. It is a lot of legendary lords. And all of those legendary lords for every single race need to feel different. There's no other race in the game that has like a clone legendary lord. I can't think of one. So with Cathay, if we just end up with the Monkey King and 7 completely identical dragons just with a different lore of magic, I don't think I'm ever going to play Cathay. I might just play the Monkey King. I'm not even going to pick up the dragons. The dragons are just going to get so boring for me. There needs to be something different. So that sums up my video for today, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think we should just have dragons because of the dragon lore? Do you think we should have additional lords that aren't dragons? How are we going to make these dragons unique if we are going to have only dragons? Please let me know. I'd be very interested in what you guys think. So comment down in the section below. If you want to see more Total War Warhammer content, guys, from me, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.